Hello Tube Dwellers and welcome. I'm the Arcadean and this is Mabinogi Duel. So today's deck is another PvG deck that is for fighting in the Ghost Arenas. This deck has been specifically designed for Rookie Arena, however you can take it through Veteran. Just be aware that wasn't really what it was optimized for. As you can see, our showcased card today is Dragon Hunter Fryee, special edition, just because I really like the art. This is quite a budget deck, honestly. Fryee herself, the normal variant, is not very expensive, and as you can see, we're not using an awful lot of hyper expensive cards in here. So, let's run through it very quickly. First of all, we have the Goblin Bomb Squad. Now, this is just a staple in PvG decks if you're running gold. Excellent tank, decent offensive presence, really good for guarding you in the first level or two against any large threats that may be dropped right out of the gate. Next up, we have Growth Vine, an excellent card in the late game, but try not to play it at level 1 if you can possibly avoid it. It really shines mostly at sort of the end of level 2 and during level 3, when your opponent has not very many resources and needs to keep charging up, which will just buff the Growth Vine. Then we have Command Hunting, if it comes up, there we go. Command Hunting, because this is a deck that has a lot of fairly low-cost creatures, and we're running Trap in the Castle, Command Hunting is just better for us. It more damage for the same cost as Hunt. Next, we have... Oh, there we go. Oh, it froze up for a second. I was going to say we have nothing. We have nothing. Next up is Drag to Hell. Drag to Hell Light, to be specific, the mutant variant. Now, this is extremely useful when you're at your 10th consecutive win and your opponent decides to bring out, a Scathach right out of the gate. Drag to Hell will just remove that threat from the board immediately. Very useful. Very useful card. Next we have Barbarian, another staple gold card, just really good defensive presence, and if your opponent weakens it without killing it, it will supercharge its attack value. It tends not to survive very long, but when it does, it can absolutely swing games in your favor. Then we have Trap in the Castle, my absolute favorite light spell in PvG, an excellent defensive spell that can just allow you to build up your resources for the first turn or for the first level or two. Next is Flame Emission, AoE removal spell, standard stuff. You always need at least one AoE, and I find Flame Emission to be the most reliable because it outputs the most damage to the most number of people. Then we have Albi Stone Golem, nature staple. Nothing much to say here really. Excellent tank, good AoE presence, and pretty decent attack value. Then we have Dragon Hunter Fryee, the card around which the deck is sort of themed, as it were. Her ability is actually very useful. You bring her out even at level 1, and she can do a significant amount of chip damage to your high-level opponent decks if they start bringing out LB +1s and things like that. Fryee can chip them down, getting them into a decent range for your removal spells to just take care of them completely. And at the same time, hurts your opponent, which is always nice. Then we have Mud Hero Dras, a gold staple, very powerful, very powerful. Just be aware that he does do a significant amount of damage to creatures on either side of himself, so try not to play him next to a Trap in the Castle or a Goblin Bomb Squad unless you actually want those things to be removed. Next up, we have Capture. This is to deal with the big creatures, Doom Machines, and so on and so forth that may come out, but it can also be used against Scathach and cards like that in order to use their abilities for your own gain. Remembering, of course, that any creature that transforms will remain on your field, but its attack value and HP will be restored to their original values, which is really nice. And finally, Holy Spear, an emergency button for when things are going completely wrong, and also a very useful masking tool. If your opponent, when your Ghost is playing this deck, when your opponent sees Holy Spear deck, they have no idea what to expect. They have no idea what's coming, so they can't plan accordingly, which can be very useful for ensuring those Ghost victories. Speaking of ghost victories, this deck has been designed to get you into Platinum without needing to be changed. However, if you want to optimize the deck as best as possible and aim for the top 10, then there are 3 changes that you need to make once you're done with your manual run. First of all, change command hunting for hunt. The AI will not use command hunting correctly. Change it for hunt, much simpler. Same sort of thing with light drag to hell, change that out for a surprise attack. You really don't want the AI dragging to hell one of your big creatures to kill one of your opponent's traps. And finally, Fryee herself can remain in the deck if you want to, but if you want a more kind of solid deck that's slightly more likely to get the ghost victories, then replace Dragon Hunter Fryee with either a Skathach or, if you're on a budget, Mage 39 years old. In some ways, Mage 39 I actually advise more for the ghost decks because most people are expecting Skathach. They will have the light drag to hells, they will have the captures, both of which people are generally kind of hesitant to use against Mage 39 because he doesn't seem like he's worth the cost to capture or perhaps drag to hell. So Mage 39 years old, or if you really want to, Skathach, or just leave Fryee. She's not a liability in the deck, she's just a little difficult for the AI to play correctly. So, you'll have to excuse me, I'm actually suffering from a really bad cold at the moment. So, let's take this deck into a match, into the rookie arena rather, and I will play the last 2 games of a 10 consecutive win streak, provided of course I get that far. Let's find out. Okay, 9th consecutive fight. Fingers crossed. Okay. Opponent, please don't be too difficult. I'm very sick today. Let's see. Rank 647th, Korean player. Okay. Okay. So it won't be a high-leveled ghost. No. Witch Xena with nature. And given her low HP value, could have some mutants in there. I'm going to assume a white shark is in there for sure. We'll drop Mud Hero Dras, because that way on our next turn we're ready with either a Golden Bomb Squad or a Trap in the Castle, depending on which is necessary. Neither is necessary, which is good, so we will just charge up so that we're ready to answer whatever our opponent happens to play. Eagle, good, okay. Provided that doesn't jump over to the far left, which it didn't, we're good because we can just drop a Trap in the Castle. And hopefully our opponent will continue to just sort of fire creatures into it. I do love Trap in the Castle, but never play it if your opponent is on the far left, because that's what the AI will do. The AI will always prioritize the far left trap, even though there's no reason to. Good, so we level up first. That's really nice. Then our opponent comes out. Again, we're just playing this really defensively. We're going to keep charging up. We're going to see what our opponent plays, and we're going to work on countering it for less resources than it cost our opponent to play. So we maintain a certain amount of board presence. If Skeleton Knight goes in front of a trap, that would be great. Thank you. Excellent. And Vampire also in front of a trap. Perfect. Thank you very much, Vampire. I do appreciate you helping me out here. So the Skeleton Knight is going to die and then summon a skeleton. The Vampire is simply going to die. The question is, do we want to bring out the Albi? And I think the answer is probably yes. That way we're ready with an AoE, as well as still having a trap or two left on the field. Oh wow, Net Spider. Interesting. And there's the White Shark that we anticipated. That's generally the go-to combination when you're running a Xena in PvP or PvG. So, Vampire dies, and our opponent has actually lined up everybody really, really nicely for a flame emission. So, it would be a shame not to take advantage of that. Down goes the White Shark, down goes the Skeleton, and the Net Spider gets weakened, although not enough to kill it, unfortunately, but we don't really mind. The Net Spider is going to cocoon our Albi, but that almost works out in our favor, really, because we can ensure that the Albi is going to survive that cocoon. We will continue to charge up a little bit here, and we will revive from the grave. So I can actually tap the thing, good and charge up one more time. There's a possibility our opponent will kill the cocoon, although it's not hugely likely. Okay, just cocooned itself. That's actually really, really good for us. It guarantees that our Albi is going to come out and then immediately destroy that cocoon, so we don't need to worry about that at all. So what we can do now is we can play both Mud Hero Dras and Fryee, go a little bit aggressive since our opponent is running low on resources, and then charge up a bit. And if all goes according to plan, we can also drop a Growth Vine next turn if it turns out to be in any way necessary. There's a White Shark. Does it go in front of anybody? It does. Perfect. It goes in front of Mud Hero Dras. Excellent. So our Albi comes back, stronger than ever, which is always a delight. We will just leave the White Shark alone because actually Fryee is going to kill it. So we will charge up a couple times, Fryee will kill the White Shark, our Albi will kill the cocoon, and then we'll basically be in a position to win on the next turn if our opponent doesn't sort of like flood or wipe the field. But I don't think that our opponent can flood or wipe the field at this point. There's no problem, command hunting will take care of that. Good. And we're graving now. So we use a command hunting on the vampire. Bye bye vampire. And what's that? 27 plus 6? Yeah, we're good. So Fryee should land the finishing blow. She is after all the hunter of dragons, I admit, which this poor girl isn't, but hey. Is the hunt already over? Seems a little mean to say, Fryee, but okay. Alright, good. So by maintaining a constant pressure on our opponent, we prevented her from bringing out Witch Xena. Not that Xena would have been a massive threat. We could always have captured it and used her ability for our own advantage, but it would have required an expensive answer. So it's good that we didn't have to do that. Oh good, the Joy of Love ticket. Hooray! 0.2% chance of pulling what I want. Okay. And that's the 9th consecutive victory. Let's move on to number 10, shall we? Alright, 10th consecutive fight, and hopefully victory. We'll see if my flu kills me first. Which will kill me first, my opponent or my own body? 378th, okay. So, Japanese player, was that Shike?
The duel will start now.
Alright. A Holy Spear deck, using a few mutants of her own. Not a level 10, which is fortunate, unfortunate. I mean, she doesn't get the big boost, but we don't get a big point boost either. It doesn't matter though, because we're already, well, like 3 ghost victories, which means we're well into silver at this point. So she charges up, which works out perfectly for us, and we started with 2 light, which again is the perfect opening for this deck, because then it means you can just discard 1 gold and get ready with whatever you need. Wow, for situations like this. This is why we run White Drag to Hell, so that we don't have to deal with that nonsense. Down goes the Albi, and regardless of what she brings out next, which is Skathach, we're actually okay. We're okay with that. It's not perfect, but it's not terrible either. We will let her... Yeah, we'll let her damage go through. Hopefully this goes into nature. Perfect, okay. If it hadn't, it wouldn't have been the end of the world, but it's better that it did. Good, alright, so now we capture Skathach and use her abilities for our own. Thank you so much. It's generally better to capture Skathach at a higher level, but we may do with what we have. Now, we can answer this Albi in a number of ways, but I think we'll go for the cheapest possible option at the moment because we're not doing brilliantly for resources, so we'll drop the Golden Bomb Squad. If the Golden Bomb Squad is left unmolested, which it is, then it will now kill the Albi because it'll damage it enough for its ability to activate. We'll just charge up now because we really need to get a resource advantage over our opponent. who is, it seems, running a very classic ghost deck. Good. Skathak transforms, which means that she no longer has 0 attack, which means that she will actually start dealing damage to our opponent, which works out great. So we can expect our opponent to be carrying the standards, hunt, surprise attack, that kind of thing. In which case, again, we're just going to play this really quite defensively, get up to level 3 as quickly as we possibly can, take advantage of our level advantage to do... Okay. Alright, so that's a little bit different. The elf hero choice is a little different. Lisa Lovelock. Alright. Alright, we're just getting to the situation actually where I think a Holy Spear would not be entirely amiss, but Flame Emission plus Trap in the Castle is probably... No, in fact, we'll do Flame... yes, okay, no, we're going to have to basically do this. We're going to have to do Flame Emission, and we'll do it this way because Skathak should be able to kill that elf now. It means we don't level up, which is a shame, but it's alright. And then we drop Trap in the Castle. We have more than enough light to afford that, and it's unlikely our opponent is going to remove the trap, and if she does, again, there's no big deal because we can just command hunting the next turn. So, Lisa's energy goes up by 1, which is unfortunate, but it's not a big problem, and she levels up. Good, so Lisa will just hammer right into that trap and die to it. We take 3 damage from her ability, but we maintain board presence, and we're not doing too badly for resources. Our opponent has a lot of light resource, so we can expect a Holy Spear to be coming out since we dominate the board at this point. But since we're not using any of our own creatures, and it's only 3 traps on the field, we don't really mind too much. Okay. She's not, in fact, playing the Holy Spear, which is fine. Really doesn't affect us. As long as we don't put any more creatures into the grave, we're actually okay. So we're getting a little low on life. And we're going to be a little bit lower now because I'm going to revive again, just to make sure that we've got absolutely everything in our hand that we can possibly require. But I really, really don't want to play another creature because she's got so many light resources, she's just going to Holy Spear that whole thing. I'm surprised that she hasn't done it already, honestly. The AI generally is quite trigger happy with Holy Spear when you have more creatures on your side of the field. What I may do at this point is drop Fryee onto the field. Or possibly the Growth Vine. We'll charge up just a little bit more. I really do want her to play something so that we can answer it. But if she doesn't play anything this turn, she just continues to charge, then I'm just going to have to bait out. There we go, finally, the Holy Spear. Good. Took long enough. Okay, so she's got Skathak back now. She brings out Lisa Lovelock again, which isn't a big deal. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. She still has enough for a pretty big thing. So, for a Holy Spear. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop Dras in the middle. We're going to command hunting Lisa, because at this point we can't let her generate any more energy because we're already pretty darn low on health. So we take 3 damage off that, which is unfortunate, but there's nothing we can really do about it. And we will leave Dras and Dras alone on the field because I don't want to bait out another Holy Spear. Not until Dras has had the opportunity to do some damage. Okay, I thought that she was about to block Dras with the Albi, but she's not. She's just gone for sort of a side-on play. That's fine. We'll drop an Albi of our own. There we go. And charge up. I'm desperately... There we go. I'm desperately hoping that we can charge into nature. We need more health if possible. Alright, we only got 1. So, I mean, if she removed our Albi, then that would be the end of us. But she doesn't have enough resources in nature or gold to remove the Albi, so we were safe with that decision. That's unfortunate, but we do have our own Holy Spear that we've been holding in reserve for just this occasion. So now is the time for all good creatures to come to the aid of the party, as it were. I mean, I could have used Drag to Hell, and that might have worked if we'd gotten lucky, but there was always a possibility that we wouldn't, and then we wouldn't have been able to use Drag to Hell. Our opponent has very, very few resources, so let's drop Fryee and try to charge into some more health, which we don't, unfortunate, but it does balance out our resources a little better.
Opponent accumulated resource.
Okay, she charges. If she charges one more time, she doesn't. She goes for Flame Mission. We're not too worried about that because that drains her gold all the way down.
No creature left.
We drop a Barbarian and we charge up twice.
Charged resource.
Good, there's some more nature. Excellent, that takes us up to 10, which takes us outside of Albi's fatal range. And next turn, if the Barbarian goes down, we can roll with a Growth Vine. Oh no. She just slapped herself to death. Okay, so yeah, she slapped herself to death. That wasn't going to kill us anyway, but if she had another slap ready to go, then if she'd had the health to survive it, then we would have died to that, but I mean, she only had 2 HP, so we win. Not the most glorious of victories, but we were going to win that fight anyway, so I don't feel too bad about it. So there we are. 10 consecutive victories and 3 ghost victories. Not too shabby. And that was the Dragon Hunter Fryee deck. I do like this card very much. She may not be considered top tier by most players, but I think she has her place, and she's definitely a lot of fun to run. So if you'd like to try her out for yourself, and you'd like to try this deck out in your own game, there's the share code, as always, up in the top right-hand corner. So give her a go. Let me know how you get on with her. That's all for this video, and that's all from me. So, thank you for watching, and as always, a special thank you to all the Arcanauts who have subscribed so far. Until next time, have fun, and good luck.